In the high hills of Sodor, the narrow gauge engines work hard all day, taking trucks and passengers to and fro. They like to be busy and help one another if they are ill or broken down. And most of the day, they like to be really useful. But one morning, the engines were feeling tired and Sir Handel wouldn't stop complaining. Man, I'm getting sick of doing all this work. There is just too much work for me to handle.
How can you say that when your name is Sir Handel? You should be able to handle anything.
All the engines laughed, but Sir Handel didn't.
Don't get me wrong, but Sir Handel is sort of right. There is more work for us than usual, and there is less of us.
Yeah, especially since Duncan, Freddie, and Mighty Mac were sent to the works for their overhauls.
Don't forget Grandpuff.
Luke wasn't quite sure who the engines were talking about, but before he could ask, the Fin Controller arrived. However, Sir Handel noticed something different about him. Pardon me, sir, but what happened to your usual outfit? My outfit is at the dry cleaners, and this is all I could find to wear for now. Anyway, I understand that all of you are working really hard, and I know there are a lot more jobs than usual. So, you'd be happy to know that Duncan, Freddie, Mighty Mac, and even Duke will be returning from the works from their long overhaul. The engines were happy to hear this. Duncan, Freddie, and Mighty Mac had been in the works for quite some time. Duke, however, had been in the works for years. Duncan and Duke will be arriving first. Madge will be bringing them here by road. Later, Thomas will be bringing Freddie and Mighty Mac to the transfer yards. Peter, Sam, and Sir Handel were very excited.
Oh boy! Can you believe it, Sir Handel? Grandpuff is coming back home!
And don't forget about the others. Now we won't be overworked again. Just then, a horn hooted. It was Madge. She had brought Duncan and Duke ready to be unloaded.
Hello everyone! I thought you were old friends back from the works.
The engines whistled and tooted hello. Duke sighed when he saw Peter, Sam and Sir Handel, formerly known as Stuart and Falcon.
I had a feeling I'd be seeing you two again.
Same goes to you, Grandpuff.
Sir Handel and Peter, Sam laughed. Duncan was also happy to be back. Then, he noticed an engine he had never seen before.
Who is he?
Later, the Fin Controller had given his engines their job, and had left for a short meeting with the Fat Controller. Luke puffed away to collect slate from the Blue Mountain Quarry.
Skarloey, who is that little green engine?
That, Duncan, is Luke. He's been on a railway for a while now.
How come I wasn't told about him?
Skarloey paused for a moment.
At the time, well, we couldn't tell any of the other engines about him.
What? Why? What did he do?
It was because when Luke arrived on Sodor, he thought he knocked Victor off the boat and into the sea by accident. Since then, he hid out of sight at the Blue Mountain Quarry because he thought he'd be sent away from Sodor if anyone found him.
Duncan couldn't help but laugh.
Ha! You'd have to be a scaredy engine to think that. What a silly engine.
And Duncan puffed out of the yard to collect his train. Skarloey was speechless after what he just heard.
I guess Duncan doesn't change at all.
Indeed, he's still a bit of a snooty engine.
He's been like that at the works, rushing the workmen to fix him first.
I'll go and keep an eye on Duncan to make sure he doesn't cause too much trouble for Luke.
Good idea, Rusty. You know what Duncan might do to upset Luke.
With that, Rusty oiled away after Duncan. Later that day, Luke puffed into the transfer yards with coal. Duncan pulled up alongside Luke.
So, you must be Luke.
And you are?
They call me Duncan. So, I hear that you are a scaredy engine.
What?
Come on now, Lukey. You know what I'm talking about. Hide you in the quarry just because of a silly little accident.
But I was mummied. I thought I would get sent away from Sodor forever.
Don't you get it? How can you knock an engine when you weren't moving? That crane was the one who made you bump into Victor. But I guess you're just a silly little engine for being as scared of something like that.
And Duncan puffed away. Luke was upset. Little did Duncan know that Rusty had seen everything. He rolled over. Just as Rusty pulled up alongside Luke, Thomas chuffed into the transfer yards with Freddie and Mighty Mac.
Hello, Rusty. Hello, Luke. I've brought Freddie and Mighty Mac to help with work again.
Oh, it's wonderful to be back.
I can't wait to get chuffing
and puffing on the tracks again.
Hello, Rusty. Who's your new friend?
But the engines could see that Luke and Rusty didn't have happy looks on their faces.
What's the matter?
Duncan's being rude to Luke about being scared of being sent away, and calling him a silly little engine.
Well, that is very rude of Duncan. Just you wait until I...
Hold on, Thomas. Leave this to fearless Freddie.
Freddie will know what to do.
Indeed I do. I'll soon sort that Duncan out. You'll see.
They told the engines their idea. Soon, Freddie told the Fin Controller their plan. The Fin Controller agreed. Duncan arrived back at the shed. He was looking forward for a rest, but the Fin Controller was waiting for him. Duncan, there is one more job you need to do.
What is it, sir?
Freddie has run out of water. He's taking a heavy train to the transfer yards and needs help.
Yes, sir. The sooner I help Freddie, the sooner I can rest in my favourite shed.
Duncan set off to find Freddie. Because he left so quickly, he didn't fill it with more water. Freddie hadn't really run out of water. That was part of the plan. Soon, Duncan puffed up.
You must have had a leaky tank, Fredwood. Guess those workmen didn't fix you properly.
Freddie didn't say anything. He knew it would all pay off soon. Duncan buffered up to Freddie and set off to the transfer yards. Duncan puffed and chuffed and puffed with every ounce of steam he had. Freddie could tell Duncan was tired. They were halfway near the transfer yards when suddenly Duncan felt himself slowing down.
Wait, why am I slowing down?
And soon the whole train came to a complete stop.
Oh no! Now I'm out of water. I should have topped up with more water.
Duncan's driver went to call for help. He returned a few moments later. We're in luck. An engine is on his way to help us get to the transfer yards.
Well, whoever it is, he'd better hurry. I want to rest in my shed that I've missed for so long.
Just be patient, Duncan.
A few minutes had passed. Duncan was impatient. Then he heard a whistle. Duncan realised who it was.
Oh no, it can't be.
And it was. Luke pulled up alongside Duncan.
Hello, Duncan. Run out of water, have you?
Duncan said nothing.
We're glad you could help us, Luke. This goods train needs to get to the transfer yards quickly.
Luke coupled up to Duncan, and once more, the heavy train was on its way to the transfer yards. At the transfer yards, Thomas and the other narrow gauge engines and the fin controller were waiting. At last, there was Luke, pulling into the transfer yard with Duncan, Freddie and the heavy goods train. The engines whistled and cheered. Luke was tired but proud.
Well done, Luke.
Yes, Luke. Well done indeed.
Oh, if His Grace was still here, he'd be very proud.
I knew Grandpuff couldn't go a day without mentioning His Grace.
Duncan felt embarrassed. The fin controller spoke sternly to Duncan. Duncan, you have spoke rudely to Luke. That is very unkind, especially on your first day back on my railway. Luke has proven that he is really useful, reliable and very helpful. I think you owe Luke an apology.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Luke, I'm sorry I called you a silly and scaredy engine, and thanks for helping me.
That's okay, Duncan. We all make mistakes.
Everyone agreed. Even Duncan had to agree.
Well, all's well that ends well, I say.
Duncan and Luke are now good friends. Duncan tries his best to not be a naughty engine. Even Sir Handel tries his best not to complain about his work. Especially since Duncan, Freddie, Mighty Mac and Duke came back, the workload was much easier. Well, that's the end of the story. See you next time. Goodbye.